Hello, my name is Dr. Sandra Cosgrove. I'm a history professor at the College of Southern Nevada, and I'm the executive director of a small nonprofit called Vote Nevada. One of the things we do at Vote Nevada is to help people understand civic processes so that they can be more engaged. So today, what we're going to do is review the signature gathering process if you want to help with a ballot initiative. So I'm going to do a screen share. And then go over to the first slide. So today we're going to review ballot question petition signature gathering, which is a mouthful, but it's really important that you understand this process to make sure that all of your signatures are valid and that they're able to count. Again, my name is Dr. Sandra Cosgrove. I'm a history professor at the College of Southern Nevada and the executive director of Vote Nevada. So the rules for ballot petitions are administered by the Secretary of State's office. You can visit the Secretary of State's office's website at www.nvsos.gov. When you get to the website, you'll see a menu up at the top. You'll click on elections and then go all the way over to the right-hand side and click on initiatives and referenda. On the initiatives and referenda page, you'll see an explanation of the different types of initiatives and referenda that Nevada citizens are allowed to use. There's quite a few of them. So if you feel like you maybe want to learn more about the initiative and referendum process, please visit this page and read the description of each type. For our purposes today, we're going to focus on signatures needed. So statewide petitions filed for the 2022 election cycle require 140,777 valid signatures from registered Nevada voters, including at least 35,195 signatures from each of the 4 petition districts in Nevada. Petition districts have the same geographic boundaries as congressional districts. And if you visit this website, you can go down to the bottom and click on the links to see detailed maps of the 4 petition districts in the state. So a petition district is the same thing as a congressional district. They have the exact same boundaries. So if you're out and you're talking to folks about maybe signing a petition to get a ballot question on the ballot in the next election cycle, one of the things you're going to need to do is you're going to need to ask, are you a registered voter in the state of Nevada? If the person says no, or I'm not sure, but I would like to be, I'd like to verify so I can sign your petition, you can go to registertovotenv.gov on your cell phone or on their cell phone because it's mobile friendly, and it will take you to this portal. If the person has not registered to vote, they will click on this green bar where it says new voter registration. The person will need to have a DMV issued Nevada driver's license or Nevada ID card in order to be able to use this system. But if they have one of those, they can click on that green bar and they can register to vote right on their phone, and then they would become eligible to sign your petition. If the person's not sure if they're registered to vote, they can click on the gray bar to be able to see if they have an existing voter registration. If it pops up, that means they're registered to vote and they are eligible to sign the petition. If you can't find their voter registration, no worries, just come back to this page, click on the green bar, and they can use their DMV issued driver's license or ID to register to vote. The next thing you're going to need to ask them is which county and petition district do you live in? And what you're going to ask them is, what's your congressional district? If they know who their member of Congress is, if they say, oh, it's Dina Titus, then that's going to be petition district or congressional district 1. But if they're not sure, and it's worth it to double check on this to make sure they sign in the correct packet, go to the Nevada State Legislature's website, www.leg.state.nv.us. And then on that page over on the right-hand side, you'll click on What's My District. It will then take you to this GIS map where the person can put their address in. When they put their address in and click on the little magnifying glass to search, the map will then zero in on their address where they live, and that will show you who their representatives are, starting with their member of Congress. So for this person would be in Congressional District 4. That means they're in Petition District 4. So they're going to need to sign your packet that says Clark County Petition District 4. and make sure that they sign in that packet. If they say Clark County Petition District 1, when they live in Petition District 4, that makes their signature not valid. So it's really, really important to make sure that you know who their member of Congress is, to find out what their congressional district is, and then that translates over into their petition district. And so it's well worth the time to pull your phone out or have them pull their phone out, go to this mapping tool, plop in their address, and then it shows you exactly which congressional district they live in. So once you figured out that, they can then sign your packet, making sure that the packet's the right county and the right petition district. So who can circulate a petition? Who can have those packets and ask other people to sign? A circulator has to be 18 years of age. So that is a must. They're not required to be a registered voter in Nevada. They're not required to reside in Nevada, and they may receive compensation for circulating petitions or for volunteering. So the only hard and true requirement is that you have to be 18 years of age. So for signature gathering, if you're going to be doing it in public areas, there are certain designation of public areas where you can circulate a petition. This says, pursuant to Nevada revised statutes, the Secretary of State must provide to the public a list of the areas at public buildings designated for the gathering of signatures on a petition. The lists are available on the Secretary of State's website, which is again nvsos.gov. The lists are provided by the public officer or employee in control of the operation of a public building as governed by statute. Before a person may use a designated area, the person must notify the public officer or employee in control of the operation of the building the dates and times the person intends to use the area. The request may not be denied, but you have to put in the request. You have to contact either the public officer or the employee in control of the operation of the building to let them know the dates and times that you will be in the area to gather signatures. So eligibility to sign a petition, again, only registered voters of the county and petition district where the petition is circulated may sign the petition. The petition district maps are available on the Secretary of State's website. So the petition, so the actual packet that you're going to have people sign has to include these items. Each petition must include the following enacting clause for all statutes or amended proposed by the initiative petition. The people of the state of Nevada do enact as follows. The petition must embrace only one subject. The petition must contain a 200 or word less description of effect. Each document of the petition may consist of one or more pages and must be bound together. Each document must include the full text of the proposed measure. Each document must bear the name of the county, and only registered voters of that county may sign the document. Excuse me. Each document must also bear the number of the petition district, and only registered voters of that petition district may sign the document. Each document must contain sequentially numbered spaces for the names of each person who wants to sign the document. So a petition packet would look like this. The very first page is the actual ballot question language that starts out, the people of the state of Nevada do enact as follows. And then the petition or the ballot question language is spelled completely out. All the language is there. That way, if somebody says to you, excuse me, I would like to sign your petition, but first I would like to actually read the ballot question. You'll be able to go to the first page of your petition and show them the ballot question language. On the second page, you're going to have the description of effect. This is your 200-word summary. And so let's say the person looks at your ballot question and it's 3 or 4 pages long, and they're like, oh, don't have enough time to read all that. Do you have something shorter? You can then show them the shorter summary, which is called the description of effect. They can then see what the effect of that ballot question passing is going to have. So they would be able to look at that. At that point, if they say, yep, I agree with you, I want to sign this petition to get this ballot question onto the next ballot, you're going to need to make sure that you ask the person clearly, is this the county that you live in? And is this your petition district? So if this says Clark County Petition District 1, and that person says, I don't think I'm in Petition District 1, I think I'm in Petition District 4, you're going to need to have a separate packet and say, okay, let me get my Clark County Petition District 4 packet out, and then that way you can sign on the correct packet. So this is something that's extremely important that we have to pay attention to. The person who signs on these boxes has to be from the county and the petition district, or otherwise called the congressional district, that's at the top of that page. So this is really important, because if you end up having somebody sign who's in Clark County, but they're in Petition District 4 and the packet they signed was Petition District 1, it invalidates their signature. So this is really important that we have the packets all put together correctly and that the people sign in the correct packet. You can have as many of these description of effects signature lines as you can get into one packet. It's not just one. You could have 25, you could have 30. You just need to make sure that they're sequentially numbered. So this says 1, 2, 3, 4. The next page will say 5, 6, 7, 8. And you need to make sure that they're all in order and that they're stapled together. The very last page is your affidavit page. This is extremely important. If a package doesn't have this page and it is not signed and notarized, that packet is invalid. So when you are done with a packet and you're starting a new packet, you're going to put the packet aside, but before you turn it into the clerk or the registrar's office, you have to go before a notary, fill this out, sign it, and then the notary has to say that they witnessed you signing it and that you're the person you say you are. All this says is that I was the person that circulated this document and I witnessed the signatures being affixed that are in the document. And then you sign and then the notary signs. A lot of campaigns will have a designated notary for you to go to so that you don't have to pay or they're going to reimburse you. But you need to make sure you know that before you start circulating those petitions, because once you start witnessing the signatures, you're the one that's going to have to sign this affidavit. A notary can run anywhere from $5 to $10. But if you've got lots of packets, that can easily add up. So just make sure that you talk to the campaign people that are running the ballot initiative so that you know what to do when it comes time for you to sign the affidavit and have it notarized. So here you can see what a petition signature block looks like when it's filled out. Each signature must be in ink, no pencil. Any signature which is not signed in ink will not be counted. The signer must print clearly and complete all portions of the signature block with the required information. Each signer shall include their signature, resident address, and the name of the county in which he or she is registered to vote. So all of those blocks need to be filled out. Let's say there's a mistake. The person thought they were in Congressional District 1, but they're actually in Congressional District 4. So we need to strike out exactly how you see right here, their name and information from one petition district so it can be added to another petition district. So if there's a mistake or a person wants to withdraw their name, which they can do up to any point before the packet gets turned in, this is how you go in and strike out their name so that it doesn't get counted. So signature verification. Upon receipt of the petition, the clerk or the registrar, some counties call them clerks, some counties call them registrars, shall count the number of signatures submitted. This number is the raw count. If the raw count is less than 100% of the number of signatures required, then the petition is deemed insufficient. So for 2022, if you turn in your petition packets and you don't have at least 35,195 signatures, then none of it counts. Your petition is insufficient and they will not verify your signatures. If the raw count indicates that the petition contains 100% or more of the total signatures required, then the clerk or registrar shall complete the verification process. The clerk or registrar has 20 days from receipt of the packets to conduct the signature verification process. So for initiatives and referendum, these are types of petitions in Nevada. An initiative is a device or a petition by which voters enact state laws or local laws. Referendum is a device, a petition, by which voters approve or disapprove of existing state or local laws. Referendum petitions. A referendum petition can only approve or disapprove a state statute, resolution, or ordinance that was enacted by the state legislature, the Board of County Commissioners, or the City Council. Statewide initiative petition, to propose a new state law or amend existing statute. If the petition is sufficient, the Secretary of State shall transmit the petition to the 2023, because that's the next legislative session, the 2023 legislative session as soon as it convenes. The petition shall be enacted or rejected by the legislature without change within 40 days. If the petition is enacted by the legislature and approved by the governor, it will become law. If rejected or the legislature does not act upon the petition, the Secretary of State shall submit the petition to a vote at the next general election. So if you do a statewide initiative petition to propose a new law or to amend an existing state law or statute, you have all the way until November to get your signatures. So we have a longer period of time. But what the Secretary of State does is she doesn't automatically put it on the ballot. She sends it directly to the next legislative session to say to legislators, the voters of Nevada came together and they said that they want you to take into consideration a new law or an amendment to an existing law. And if the legislature says, oh, well, thank you very much, we'd love to do that, and they pass it, then your ballot question has been enacted. But if the legislature decides not to take it up, or if they take it up and the governor vetoes, then what happens is your ballot question goes to the next ballot in the general election for voters to decide. So this is a way to prioritize a law in a way that it can't get killed during legislative session. And if it's not acted upon, or if it's rejected, it goes out to the voters, and then the voters get to decide whether your initiative petition, whether that's a new state law or an amendment to an existing law, if that should take effect. So this is one way to kind of go around the legislature a little bit. If you have a statewide referendum petition, you approve or disapprove a current state law. If the petition is sufficient, it's submitted to a vote of the people in the next general election. If the state law at issue is approved, it remains standing as the law of the state. If the state law at issue is disapproved, it becomes void and of no effect. And so if there, let's say in the next legislative session, there's a law approved, but a majority of Nevadans disagree with that law. Any one of us who's a registered voter can run one of these petitions and ask our fellow Nevadans, do you actually agree with this new state law, or do you disapprove of it? If enough of us, the majority of us, disapprove, then that law is no longer valid. That law is taken down. It becomes void and of no effect. Statewide initiative petition to amend the Nevada Constitution. If the petition is sufficient, the proposed amendment shall be placed on the ballot for the 2022 general election for approval or disapproval by the voters of the entire state. If the voters approve the amendment, the Secretary of State shall submit the question of approval or disapproval to a vote of the people at the 2024 general election. If the question passes a second time, it becomes part of the Nevada Constitution upon certification of election results. If the question fails to pass the second time, no further action shall be taken. So for a constitutional amendment, you gather signatures once, but then voters have to approve it twice. And so it's really important when you're gathering signatures that you also find a way to stay engaged with the folks that support your ballot question, to remind them to vote in that election cycle and then in 2 years for the next election cycle. Because if you get the signatures and then it passes one election cycle, but then fails in the next election cycle, you have to start all over again from scratch. You have to get signatures again, and then you start the process of having it voted on twice. So it's really important on that second time around, where it would come up, in this case in 2024, to make sure the folks that support that ballot question are reminded that it's going to show up again and that they need to vote yes. Okay, so prohibited acts of circulators. So if you're the one that's got the petition and you're asking people to sign, you're the circulator. Fraudulently signing a petition for another person is prohibited. Encouraging minors or ineligible individuals to sign the petition, crossing out, altering, or modifying any information, filling in the elector's information yourself, misrepresenting content of the petition, refusing to let electors read the petition, forging names, offering a form of payment for signatures, asking an individual to sign a petition more than once, circulating a petition that is not in its entirety, creating a false circulator name or address, fraudulently creating signatures, names, and addresses, intimidation, and permitting unlawful fraudulent activities. So I appreciate you sticking with me and with it all the way to the end, because this is kind of a long, convoluted process. But what I want to do now is I want to actually stop screen sharing for my PowerPoint, and then we're going to look at the Secretary of State's website really quick. If at any point you have questions that I have not answered, you can email me at info@vote-nevada.org. That's the email address for Vote Nevada, and then you'll be able to ask your questions, and hopefully I will be able to answer. So I am going to stop the PowerPoint presentation, and then we're going to go over to the Secretary of State's website. So I'm going to do a share screen now. And head right over there. Okay, so this is the Secretary of State's website. Notice it's the nvsos.gov. And the Secretary of State's office does a lot. There's a lot of different things related to elections. They also provide business licensing. So there's a whole bunch of different things that the Secretary of State's office is in charge of. But remember, we're worried about elections. So here's that drop-down menu. Notice if you come right over here, you're going to see initiatives and referenda. If you click on that, it'll take us over to the page where we were just reading about the signatures needed. And remember, it said you could go down to the bottom of the page and you would be able to look at your petition district maps. So if you want to file a petition, if you want to see what the important dates are, you can come down here and you can be able to click on any of these links and you'll be able to see. So if we went to petition district map and we went to district, let's say we did statewide, that's going to then show us what our petition districts are. And then we would be able to say, oh, okay, well, I see that you live over here on the east side of Las Vegas. So you're going to be in petition district 1. Or I might say, oh, you're on the southwest side. That's going to be petition district 3. Okay, so going back. If you wanted to look at that presentation that I did the screenshots from, notice that it says training, and you can then click on that. And it's going to take you over to the Prezi presentation that I just was showing you the screenshots from. So you can actually go back and you can gather all the information that you need for circulating the petition, the different forms that you need to fill out. All you have to do is click down here on the bottom and it takes you through all of this information. And so that's at the bottom there. Right now, if you look at this page, it's saying that there's no 2022 petitions because this isn't hyperlinked, but that's actually not true. If you go back up to elections and you go over to the right-hand side and you click where it says 2022 petitions, it does take you to a page where the 2022 petitions are located. So right now we have a Nevada Voters First ballot petition, which is for an open primary with ranked choice voting. And we have the Fair Maps Nevada ballot petition, which is to create an independent redistricting commission. Statewide initiatives to change laws or propose new laws actually can't be filed until January. So we don't really see any of them down here yet. Hopefully the page that we were just at will see that hyperlink so that you can get to it just from the initiatives and referenda page. But fear not, you can always get to it from here. Also, this is where you can go if somebody needs to register to vote. All of the different information that you need related to elections is under this election tab right here. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and stop sharing and come back. And thank you once again for sticking with us. It is kind of a confusing process, but this is one of the things that the average person can participate in. If you know of a ballot question that's proposing a law, or maybe you want to affirm a law or amend the Nevada Constitution, you have to gather a lot of signatures. So it takes a lot of people to come together, to agree, and then to get out there and make sure that you're following all the rules so that your signatures are going to be valid, so that the people you're talking to, if they agree with you that that ballot initiative is important and it needs to pass, then you need to help to make sure that it shows up on the next ballot or that it shows up in the next legislative session. So I'm going to go ahead and wish you well and say goodbye.